Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Thank you for listening. I am Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21.
And I am the number one underground comic, Apollo Taj Mahal.
If you like the interview, and we know you will, go ahead and give us a like and a follow on all the social media platforms, whether it is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all the same, guys. Did You See That Shit podcast?
Yeah. You can also find us at didyousseethatshit.com.
And Stitcher, Google Play,
iTunes.
pretty much wherever you find your favorite podcast.
By the way, if you enjoyed this interview, go listen to the full podcast and everything we just told you.
.com. I want to introduce Ricky Simon to the show. He's LFA's bantamweight champion, and he has a record of 11-1. He has his first title defense coming up at LFA 36 against Vincius Zaney on March 23rd. What's going on, man?
None much. Just about to head to practice. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. I appreciate you doing this, sneaking me in there before a very tough practice. You know, Ricky, I wanted to ask you, man, you have been in the cage, the octagon, whatever you want to call it. You've been in there with a lot of tough guys, man. Alex Soto, Chico Camus, Eduardo Torres. What do you think was the fight where you really were able to shine, put it all together, so to speak?
If I'm being honest, I still don't think I've really shown what I could do and put it all together. But I think maybe, my last fight was probably my best fight because it was against such a veteran in Chico Camus. So, I was able to go out there and I feel like I did something that no one has ever done in Chico, and he fought some tough people. So I would have to say, that first fight in LFA for the title against Chico was my best fight so far.
That was very impressive, man, as was your Dana White, the Tuesday Night Contender Series, your fight with Donovan Freelo. You won via split decision. It was a very, very entertaining fight, man. How was that whole experience?
It was a great experience, but, it was a 3-week notice kind of deal, during summer, and it was an awesome experience overall, but, I wish I had, a camp. I wish I had time to show, what I could do, but it all seemed kind of rushed, and but, I'm thankful for the experience. It was fun, and it was cool to get to go to Vegas and fight in front of the UFC brass.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you definitely did live up to it, man. It was a great fight. You're only 25 years old. How did you get into fighting?
I started wrestling at a young age, and, I kind of decided not to wrestle in college. And I had a buddy, Jake Smith, who is now, he just had his first fight in Bellator, got a 57-second knockout.
Steve Cazzola.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We had Jake on the show.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jake was on the show.
Perfect. I better get a 57-second knockout too then. No, but yeah, we were on the same wrestling team in high school, and then I decided not to wrestle in college, and he was already fighting. He already had a few fights under his belt, and I had just kind of mentioned that I was interested, and he told me to come try it out. So in the beginning, it was just really me and him training together. We were both working, crazy hours, so we would just get together like random times in the morning or at night and start training. And also, like, in a sense, I never really thought I was gonna be a fighter or anything like that. But I started like watching, Pride and UFC, when I was really, really young with my dad and my older brother. And I have a brother that's like a year and a half older than me, and we would just beat the crap out of each other growing up. So, it's just always been kind of, I don't know, might have always been kind of like in my blood or something, but, it's worked out pretty good so far.
Very cool, man. Do you still train at Gracie Barra in Portland and Rose City?
Rose City ended up closing down, and then we basically all moved out and started training under Fabiano Scherner at Gracie Barra. So, yeah, I'm still training with them. Currently, though, I am training with Tyson Nam in Hawaii. I did that for a little bit of that last camp before I fought Chico. I came out here for a few weeks and trained at Hawaii Elite under Charles. And Tyson was my main training partner back in Portland before he moved back home to Hawaii. So once he moved back home about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, I've been coming out here and training with him and getting ready for my fights.
That's a very good story, man. And you definitely, Tyson and a lot of those guys you train with, Jake, you mentioned, growing up with Jake, wrestling with him, you have always been around, high-level fighters, and that definitely translates in the way that you perform, because I think you're one of the guys that is the future of that bantamweight division, I believe, and it's exciting to see. How's the weight cut, man? I mean, I don't think you're necessarily a big or a small. I think you're actually just right in the bantamweight division. You're like the perfect size for that division. But is the weight cut, is it hard on you?
Yeah, man. I have like a weird body style. Like I feel like I'm a perfect height for the division, but man, I don't know what it is. I just get so big. So I've been trying to keep that under control and keep my weight under control. Training 5-round fights makes things a lot easier on the weight cut part, because you're training a little bit more, so the weight seems to come off a little bit easier. But it's still hard, especially out here in Hawaii. We have so much good food out here and stuff like that, so it's hard to find somewhere healthy to eat all your meals. But especially after that Dana White Contender Series show, I decided to not let myself get up too high in weight anymore, and I've been keeping my weight pretty low to where I can make weight, on short notice, because that Dana White Contender Series weight cut was pretty rough.
And that's how it's going to happen too, man. They got your number. They have their eye on you, and if they need a last-minute replacement, you're going to be one of those guys they consider calling. So it's definitely it's always wise to stay ready, right? I know that you do a lot of social media. Would you like to share that with everybody?
They can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at RickySimone135.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on. Thank my team, Gracie Baja, Hawaii Elite, and all my sponsors. Thanks for everything, guys.
Real quick, if you could, Ricky, we kind of have a tradition here, man. If you could just say, this is Ricky Simon, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast.
This is Ricky Simone, and you're listening to Did You See That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.